What's up? So, first of all, trying a new hairstyle. I've had this for about a month and I'm like kind of like growing it out. So it's in its awkward phase right now, but we're making it work. Anyway, so thank you to everyone who said they really like it. Today, I want to talk about the effects of a river. I actually don't have a name for this video yet. I'll probably come up with it after I do this, but I took a let's start with a bit of a background. I took a stroll in my yard. Those of you who have been to my place know that I have a lot of nature, which is something that I love. And so we have a pond and we have a river. And when we first moved in here, I want to say give or take 12 years ago, I was about 10 years old. It was in like 2010, 11. And so I would go ahead and adventure in the pond over here and then in the river behind, our backyard. That it's a ton of land. And I would have my boots on and I'd go, you know, play in the river, not really get like too dirty or anything, but I would just like kind of hang out there, right? Just explore a lot of crayfish, crawfish, whatever, a lot of fish swimming in the river. And it's nothing big. It's just like a small river that kind of would just flow through. And, as kids, we explore all that stuff. And over the years, we built the land to be a lot more flat. And now we have trees that we planted to cover up all of that stuff. So you don't see the river anymore. And obviously, as time goes by, we grow up and I don't go there anymore. But I just took a stroll there and I realized that the river was split into two, so it came down one path and then it split into two. And then when it connected again and went back. There was one side of the river that was super deep. I want to say 2 feet deep, and it had all the flow of water. And the other one was just a very, very tight, maybe 2 inches of water flowing through. So over time, we've had all the rainstorms, the hurricanes, and all that stuff. It completely switched. So now the one that was super deep is almost fully dried out. The other one carved a big, like, I wanna say canal of water flowing through. So, it took about 10, 12, maybe even 15 years for that to happen, and it goes to show the law in Mother Nature that the long-term play is going to move mountains versus the short term, right? In certain areas of your life, you have to look at things from a long-term play. Because if you look at how the river was newly formed, it took years and years of pushing rocks slowly out of the way, right? Sometimes you had those storms, so when it rains, it pours. The river comes up super high, pushing rocks out of the way and carving its path. It took the opportunity to do that, right? But, you know, over time, it took about 10 years for this to get built, quote unquote, right? It found its new path, right? So, when you're looking at certain areas of your life, you can either look at it from a short term goal perspective, or you can plan accordingly for the long term. And when opportunities arise, you are prepared for it, right? The river was already flowing in the new direction, not as much as it is now, but it was preparing. Started off small. When the opportunities came, heavy rainstorms, flooding, whatever. We're not in a flood zone, but the river does tend to go up high. When the opportunity came, it was ready because it's a long-term outlook, right? It prepared, right? I'm like giving it characteristics like it's a human, but I guess the moral of the story is preparedness for longevity, right? It might be the title of this video. I don't know. But it's something to remember, especially in business, long-term play, never short-term, right? If you want to build something that's worth sustaining, it's always going to have to be a long-term play. Right? I've never seen, um, people get or become wealthy on a short-term play, but then remain wealthy, right? It's always a long-term oriented vision, goal, operation, whatever you want to call it. So I guess that's just a little bit of a spiel for this week. But if that helped, I hope it did. And if it did, go ahead and share it to someone else, or let me know down in the comments below.